DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
All right, everybody, welcome into Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. Joining me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dapper, on a day off, Nick Felice. Nick, good seeing you.
Yeah, going the same style as you.
I thought I'd see you at some point this week, but we just haven't crossed paths yet out on the basketball court, so it's good to see you this week.
Yeah, one more day of the high school semifinals for basketball. So
True, tonight.
And moving on to the championship weekend, which I can't believe is already here.
That's crazy. Time flies. I have no idea what we're going to talk about today. We're just going to let the flow go and see what happens. And
I got an idea.
Well, I have one idea first before we get to that. And that is handling some podcast business. So thank a couple more of our sponsors, including Dewey's Tavern within walking distance in downtown Seneca Falls, just across the Bridge Street Bridge. You can play Quick Draw Lottery, 19 televisions for all your sporting events, great food for lunch or dinner, bocce, darts, pool leagues. You can check them out online at Dewey'sThirdWard.com. And Seneca Falls Acupuncture offers personalized treatments for pain relief, women's health, digestive symptoms, cosmetic acupuncture, and much more, helping you look and feel your best naturally. You can book your appointment online at SenecaFallsAcupuncture.com to experience award-winning care right here in the Finger Lakes. So, Nick, you said that you have...
I have a topic.
You have a topic, so go ahead. Floor's yours.
Let's talk about the TGL.
Okay, I love it.
So the regular season just ended last night. Atlanta beat, Tiger Woods' terrible, trash Jupiter team, 9-1.
Ain't got to be like that.
So Tiger and Rory McIlroy came up with this idea of the TGL at the start. It finally came to fruition in start of January. It's only fitting that Tiger and Rory's teams are the two teams that missed the playoffs. So in 2 weeks from now, we will have a playoffs, which is a win or go home semifinals, which will be the number 1 seed, LA, taking on the number 4 seed, New York.
Playoffs.
And the number 2 seed, the Bay, taking on the number 3 seed, Atlanta. The winner of those will move into the week after for a best-of-3 championship series, which will take game 1 will be on that Monday. And game 2, potentially game 3, will be the following Tuesday. Paul, we've made it to the playoffs of the TGL. Tiger and Rory are both out, but we got our 4 playoff teams.
Yes.
Thoughts on the first regular season? Have you seen much of it lately?
It's been tough because of basketball and stuff like that, but I have enjoyed what it is. Obviously, I still think there's some tweaks. I don't think it's anything from necessarily a viewing standpoint, though, that I would tweak. I've seen still as we've gotten along in the season, I figured it'd be something maybe they would tweak a little bit better during the season. Don't get me wrong, I think they have. But the way the ball kind of plays every now and then on the sim portion of things, like on the drive or anything like that. Yeah. Look, it's going to be a rather inaccurate science every time. Have you ever golfed on a sim before?
No.
Okay, I've done it a couple times. And while it is pretty accurate, all things considered, still, I would call it, I'd call it within probably the 85 to 90% accuracy range for the most part. And those are I'm talking about the places I've been where it's one place has a bar element to it, the other still is more pure golf as opposed to the bar element side of things. But I think for an event, or rather in this case, a league like the TGL, I obviously I know you're not going to be able to get to 100%. I know that's just not realistic. I completely get that. I remember one time, I can't remember, I think it was Keegan Bradley, who he hit the ball and it just completely, it was a par 3. I distinctly remember being a par 3. and like you could tell like because he was using a pitching wedge from like I want to say probably was like I think about 150 or so yards, give or take. I mean the ball went like 200. I'm like, and even Hayes is like that's just not like
Yeah.
And unfortunately, just the way the league is, you have to play it, so it's like whatever. But I'm just like I'm looking at that point, I'm like, this isn't the best look for this, right? And I know I'm probably not,
But it's also the best simulator in the world.
correct. So it's just one of those things where I think we get outside of season 1 or however they're technically calling this, right? I think we will get going in a little bit better space. I think I'll toss it back over to you. I'll ask a question of you here because we're both. I wouldn't say we're both necessarily like stadium junkies in the sense of like like you have to go here, here, and here, guaranteed, no matter what. I know I feel this way. Do you want to see them kind of move this around a little bit to some sort of degree? I think that's in the plans if I remember correctly. Anyway,
When
but
you
like,
mean, like go somewhere else?
well, I mean, like, I don't have a problem with them staying in Jupiter, Florida, where it's like just where it is. But like
actually have a home.
yeah. Like for me, like one of my things where I do have to chuckle at it every week is just the fact that like your home team is Boston and they're playing an away team in like L.A. But like
It's in Florida.
yeah, you know what I mean.
I think someday they might, for the 6 teams they have, which I think they will make more teams maybe next year.
I think that's the plan, a plan of some sort.
Well, like for the 6, let's get like a stadium in Boston, an actual one where they actually have to go to LA.
And for me too, like not to interrupt, I think like how like the Big 3 does it, where it's like you have like cities who have teams, but like it rotates, kind of like even to what Unrivaled is like with women's basketball, where it's like they just kind of rotate to different cities every week.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of
what
like
I mean.
kind of like a tour.
Yeah.
On and off.
Yeah.
And yeah, that'd be cool. It's going to cost money to build those stadiums. Those stadiums cannot be cheap.
Yeah. That's the other portion of that.
Yeah, but I have a positive takeaway and a positive/negative one.
Yeah.
The positive one, which you never see in other sports, a rule change being made mid-season with the hammer rule.
I knew. Yeah.
And I like the new hammer rule. The other hammer rule where it kept going back and forth.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams hoarded hammers, and they wouldn't throw them just because they were way ahead.
Yeah.
And didn't give the other team a chance to come back. Now each team gets 3 hammers, and if they want to use them, and there's so much strategy to that, and I like that part of it, and that's great. What they did there, you don't usually see rule changes made in mid-season, but it's a test run here, basically, and that was a great rule. I love the hammer rule.
Yeah.
The other positive, negative one I have, it's a negative because these golfers are just too damn good. This green that.
I see. I'm gonna push back on that when you get
But
done.
the positive to it is you see so many more long putts. You see so many more chip ins.
Fair.
These golfers are so good. They're eating up this green.
Well, okay, but that kind of goes back, I feel like, to what I was kind of talking about a little bit, where it comes to the accuracy kind of thing. Obviously not as hard because you're actually putting for real, as opposed to like in golf sim base where like I guess
You putt into the screen.
you aren't, you're going to the screen. But I will push back on how good some of these guys are because the Kevin Kisner TikToks I've seen beg to differ. As I'm calling it.
I can't believe Tiger created this league. He can't get himself a better team.
How did they draft teams technically here?
I don't know. It's like Max Homa. I thought he was a California guy, and he's on the Jupiter team.
Yeah.
And I get they were going like off of like where they're from, but some of them don't make it.
But also, like Ricky's not a New York guy.
No.
Like,
I don't know how they draft these teams. And like, what's the deal with free agency? Can somebody go to a different team next year?
it is weird because there is similarities in my mind to how Live is structured in that sense, where it's like are they like are you just going to see like I don't know, like Tiger try and get Colin Morikawa and he sends like Kisner and a pick to like LA? Like,
I will say one thing about Liv. They're definitely jealous. I know for sure Bryson DeChambeau would love to do this thing.
Yeah,
it's a PGA Tour event.
It's interesting how we're in what, year 3 of Live, or is it year 4?
It's at least 3.
And I was watching. It's kind of funny how these kind of not necessarily started, but coincided about the same time. And the viewing product for Live is just so rough still. Like, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. whatever, but like the TGL, the way they have it structured, maybe this comes on the broadcast partners, right? Like I'm not dumb to that. Fox is very different to ESPN, as we all know, and I don't know. I think maybe it helps to a degree that like you aren't having to send like C/D crews overseas, and you just have in ESPN's case, you're sending more or less a combination of lower A's and higher B's to a once a week thing in Florida. Like it's probably an easier sell, I guess. But to that end, I don't know. It's just weird. Like even the graphics package was better and stuff like that. I don't know how the TGL is going to fully play out here in the future. I mean, obviously we know it's going to keep going and stuff like that. I'm intrigued to see kind of how it operates, because it is interesting how you bring up a guy like Bryson. I don't know if Bryce is necessarily the best example for this particular we'll call it league of the game of golf for what it is. It's kind of funny. I think personality-wise, you're right. I don't know if his game translates well, but I do think I think that's fair. A guy like him, the guy I imagine, I still think he'll eventually maybe be the first guy to switch back over. A guy like Brooks, I think, would do really well in this scenario.
See that news about him yesterday? Was it yesterday? He wants to come back to the PGA Tour.
Yeah, I mean that's been like one of the worst kept secrets type deal, and I mean he's been the odds-on favorite, I think, to be the first to jump back ship.
He's a competitive guy, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, all of them are to varying degrees, right? I think you can tell who's more competitive than who at this point. I would imagine a guy like Bryson might want to hop back. I think he's waiting, though, more so to see how this whole merger deal, if it actually does happen, play out. Brooks, I think, is going to jump no matter what, jump back. It's just interesting because you look at a guy to me like John Rahm, who I thought was pretty competitive all those years, just viewing him as a competitor in the sense that we're talking about. And the fact that he wins the biggest tournament of his life and then signs pretty much squared away with Liv right away, I'm like, oh, buddy. And since he's gone over there, not to say he's been a non-factor, but
pretty much.
I mean, yeah, for better or worse, he's been a non-factor.
And you see that a lot of the time when they get to the majors, and it's the most competitive tournament they'll play all year round.
Yeah.
Is those tournaments. While these other guys, you can say what you want about these other tournaments, but they're competitive tournaments.
Yeah.
Live, you're just not. You're not playing for anything. You're guaranteed your money. You can get more money by winning a little bit more, but it's only 54 holes. I think 4 rounds is perfect because that really decides who a winner is at the end of the day. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just more competitive with the majors and the PGA Tour.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting, like I said, because on that side of things, there's a lot of stuff to play out still, and be pretty interesting.
But playoffs, who we got in the TGL? The LA team is good.
It's hard not to pick them, right? I mean, they just have. They have the power, man.
If Oberg plays for the Bay team, he didn't play last game. But I
look at you. You're picking a little bit of.
Yeah, I think they're good. If they have Lowry, Clark, and Oberg, the Bay could give them a game. And I get it. It already feels like perfect ESPN. You got the LA and the Bay, the two best teams by far, I would say. That game, the match is on at 2:00 in the afternoon or whatever it was.
Yeah. It was weird how they staggered it. I wasn't too sure the
5
reason
o'clock?
behind
Maybe it was late.
It was weird, though. They did it the past couple weeks. I liked it. I liked the idea of it. I didn't necessarily agree with how it was kind of done.
And, of course, Tiger, obviously they want more views.
Yeah.
With Tiger, he's always got his primetime spot at night. But, it's just funny. Tiger and Rory's teams are the two teams that don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Different league. So they chose January to March to have this league. Would they have one in the summer?
I think it'd be tough only because of the way the FedEx Cup is currently structured and stuff like that.
It's like a little extra practice.
And I'm always saying that only because, not to pick on the guy, but this happened now a year ago. But look at Justin Thomas, who was on the cut line of the FedEx Cup. He ends up missing it. But, like, if you're him, would you rather be focusing on, whatever you want to call it, the Sunoco Open, where that's your last chance to get into the FedEx Cup playoff, or, your TGL regular season match? And that's why they do have subs and multiple player roster, but I think it'd be tough to go Summer. I don't know if Summer would play well on the indoor side of things. I think that was a key part in this, right, is the fact that, like, in a lot of markets still, like, it's cold. You don't want to go outside, but, some of that is big still right now is the fact of the simulator golf, and I think it played pretty well to that end.
And I can see why they chose January and March. It leads pretty much right up to the Masters.
Yeah.
It gives golf fans something to enjoy during the middle of the week.
And not a knock, but outside of, like, the Waste Management, the Genesis, I guess Pebble Beach technically, just because of the prestige around it. Yeah. And I guess maybe even this weekend too with Arnold Palmer. Like 4 weeks out of whatever it is, 12 or 16, depending on how you want to view it, right? It's a dead-ish time, right? I mean, look, I think, right, the Waste Management is the first of the designated, whatever the proper term is on the PGA side of things, for heightened event. To the point that, like, most of those guys don't even play until that tournament anyway, as is, and that's well over a month into the new FedEx Cup season at that point. So, it's just one of those things where I think they found a good spot. Don't mess it up. What helps them is the fact that, like, you're on a Tuesday night and a dead time of year for the most part. Your only competition, and not a knock on it, but they also got lucky on this respect too this year. Like, college basketball is just kind of down overall this year.
People are cooking that.
You kind of got lucky to a degree, but you need luck to survive.
So. And no playoffs don't start next week because they can't get enough people to play with the fifth major, the players next week. So, So it's going to start the following week. It'll be 2 weeks of playoffs.
Also, college conference basketball tournament week.
That's true. That's right. Yeah. A lot going on next week. Yeah. So they're going to get some playoffs in before the madness really gets going. So enjoy that. Paul?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a topic here to kind of go down.
What about Debo? Give us a little thoughts on Debo.
Well, I didn't know how to approach this because we do have some stuff going on in the NFL right now, even though the league New Year's not until next.
We just had some breaking news.
Is it next week? Next week, yeah, next week. Well, we had even more. The obviously Max Crosby, Zach Bond just signed an extension too with the Eagles. So,
Debo.
Yeah, I'm happy. It's a good risk reward trade. The interesting part is the amount of people saying it's a bad trade, which surprises me, but it's whatever. If you're watching,
always a Debo guy?
Excuse me. For fantasy purposes, I say yeah, just because I like the guys who can kind of.
He hasn't really done much last couple of years.
He's been hurt. That's the only negative, right? I don't know. It's been an interesting NFL week. I didn't know if I wanted to do anything NFL this week or save it for next week because the new year starts next week. You'll see more official things happen next week. Honestly, the most NFL news thing I wanted to bring up, if anything, was the fact that, like, teams are now starting to fall on Shedeur Sanders, which, like, no kidding. Like, we've been talking about this all year. Like. Or, well, not all year, all football year.
I hear he's coming off arrogant, too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how that's a surprise to people. I'm just being honest, right? Oh, like, right. I don't want to be that guy, but yeah, God, I hate, I'll put it to you like this. Travis Hunter, he's lucky he's perceived to be dumb, or because, like, I don't think he knows any better. Whereas Shedeur, I mean, I'm just not surprised. I mean, that whole family's just a lot, to put it nicely. But yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. I know you're not surprised. I can't believe people are surprised the fact that execs are getting through with these interviews with him, and it's just like, I don't think he's actually a first-round pick. Like, yeah, no kidding. Like, I don't know if he would be if it wasn't for his name and probably, honestly, the talent pool this year, if I'm being totally honest. But It's whatever. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We saw Matt Stafford. We talked about it last week. Lo and behold, he will be signing an extension, rework deal with the Rams. So much for him to the Giants, Nick. I apologize.
Yeah, we're going to get stuck with Aaron Rodgers or
You want to know who
Gardner Minshew.
I have a hot take about that. I think I'd rather have Minshew than Rodgers.
Yeah, I can get on that.
Yeah. You just don't get a headache.
Yeah,
You won't be great, but you won't be having a headache. And if you're the Giants and a young team you're trying to build, you might as well just have fun with the veteran as opposed to having a headache with a veteran.
I agree.
Yeah. The funny part about the Rodgers thing is I saw that the Raiders are now really kind of – I don't know if it's a team or a player thing because I saw Max Crosby was really the one kind of hammering like Rodgers to Vegas. And, of course, the Jets cut Devontae. Like, wouldn't it be the funniest thing ever? Rodgers sides with the Raiders, and the first move he wants is you bring in Devontae. Now, mind you, it's a different regime and everything. I get it, but like it just visually, it'd be the most Raider thing ever.
The fans are still there.
Sure, yeah.
They probably don't like that he wanted out.
No.
I don't
know.
It'd be interesting.
I don't know where Rodgers fits anymore. He's just so
retirement.
Well, correct. That's what I was alluding to here was the fact that like he just hasn't been good in 3 years now. That like
I'm over it.
Yeah,
it's time to move on.
Yeah,
Was he
that good to begin with?
He was pretty good.
I'd take Eli over him.
He was not a good guy, but
I'll take Eli over Aaron Rodgers.
Thank you.
Two championships to one.
He beat
Brady.
Ben.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
We beat Brady twice.
Exactly.
So.
And Eli doesn't give you a headache.
Yeah.
So.
And Eli don't miss games.
Eli's fun.
Yeah.
Eli's Funkle.
He's better than Payton.
Eli's the Funkle. Aaron Rodgers is the uncle at the Christmas party bringing up politics.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a family.
Well. That's accurate.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers is your uncle who shows up to the Christmas party in a MAGA hat.
Yeah, he's something else. So. But should be exciting next week. NFL never goes away.
Yeah, it's crazy that the new year for them is technically next week.
Yeah, I know, and it's already basically started.
Yeah,
but
I think I want to go here too right now, quick.
All right.
The NBA.
Is that you sure? Is that what I heard? Did I hear that right?
Are you scared of the Detroit Pistons? No. So Kyrie's out for the year now. It's looking like the Mavs are going to be shutting down Davis.
Probably. Disaster.
Well, hold on. It gets better with this for me because this is how I'm teeing it up. The Sixers have just finally shut down Joel Embiid officially.
On the same day Mr. Robinson came back.
And they might be doing the same thing with Paul George at this point. I mean, what a disaster for both of these teams at this point.
Can I just say, you didn't mention it. I'm sick of Kevin Durant.
Well, I was going to get there in a second. Don't you worry.
What was it? 2-3 years ago, he wanted to go to Phoenix so bad, and now he wants out.
But here's the thing with that, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. But after the whole thing with Bradley Beal at this point, I just don't know. I don't know how much of this is Durant talking and how much of this is actually the Suns leaking stuff out. You know what I mean?
I can't even imagine the tense in that locker room.
Budenholzer said as much. How often do you see a coach just come out and say, like, I had to tell these guys to shut up? He said that, to the press. Like, it's crazy.
I know.
There's a lot of drama in the NBA.
They went to the NBA Finals just less than 4 years ago.
3 years ago, yeah.
And the only guy on that team, the only even coach on that team, is Devin Booker.
Yeah.
They've completely.
No, wasn't Jones there?
Could have sworn I heard. He might have been there.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've completely destroyed this team.
So somebody brought up a good point, and a lot of people, I do agree with this, because basketball, I don't think we see it as off. Well, maybe in any sport, really, to be fair, but when new ownership comes in, they kind of want to do their own thing, and like they'll just like get rid of other people from whether it be players and everything. Like the Mavericks did something similar when Cuban bought the team. Like they had a weird down year, and like the only person left from the old regime was Dirk, and that's just because he was year like two or three. But like Sheba's doing it at a crazy rate that like I just don't view as like good for the longevity of that team. And like the Mavericks are doing the same thing where I don't view it as good. I mean, clearly not as good. They had fans walking out in the middle of the third quarter yesterday.
And they raised the ticket.
Middle of the third.
And they raised the season ticket.
Next year.
But it's very similar. You brought them up, the Mavericks. They just went to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
They're falling faster than the Suns are.
Yeah.
Suns have taken a couple years. Now they're in the dump. They're both terrible. They're both trying to get a 10 seed, which neither one probably wants it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in either of those positions at this point, do you assume you can't tank, but do you assume just try and go and get that draft capital? You got it, right?
Yeah. Same with San Antonio now with Wemby out for the year.
Yeah. Well, they were under 500 anyway, weren't they? So.
But they got Fox. They were trying to make a push.
So Fox, Wemby, and Cooper Flag. Who the NBA is liking that. Check for a cold envelope.
You know Cooper Flag's going to go to the Spurs or like the Sixers or something like that. Help out one of those teams. He won't go to the Wizards for some reason.
Trying to think of the teams here. Chicago?
They've been so bad.
I think the NBA would help out if we're doing conspiracy theories here. I feel like the
truth.
I feel like the Bulls are actually probably position number one.
Yeah, I mean they've been bad for so long. They want that team to get back.
You want to know who I didn't realize actually record-wise was as bad as they were was New Orleans.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
they've been
until the other day.
They were hurting at the beginning.
No, I mean I know, but I'm just saying like record-wise, I didn't realize just how actually bad they were.
I'm pretty sure they've had a couple 10-plus game losing streaks this year. Yeah, they are bad. And they're another team that was kind of like moving up a little bit.
Yeah.
Willie Green still a coach there?
Yeah. If you're the Thunder, do you trade like 6 of your picks that you have to try and get Cooper Flag?
Could you imagine?
Like if you're a team, let's do it this way. Like if you're a team like Spurs are probably the wrong example because like I think they would draft Flag because like I don't know if he fits exactly what they're doing, but like you have Wemby, you have Fox. Depends how you feel about Sohan, I guess, more than anything else. And Castle, who I don't know. I still find it weird he's not starting, but whatever.
Nice dunker.
He flies. He floats. But like, if you're the Thunder, do you call whoever gets the first pick and he's like, "We will give you 6 of these first-round picks."
And Giddey, who has already been traded, but
we will give you one of the Williams.
You get to pick which Jalen.
And you won't know which one until we package him and send him.
I want this Jalen.
Crap.
That is crazy. They have 2 Jalen Williams.
I feel like, I don't know if the Thunder would even do it, but like I feel like if you're them, you'd have to at least like entertain it to be an offer to somebody, right?
Yeah.
Just be like, here's 6 picks. You be the one to say it.
Tell me if it was the Lakers doing that, they'd give it to them since they give the Lakers everything.
God, it's crazy how they've like been the best team in basketball. For the past like 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, now going back 2 months, but like, especially since Luka's played full games now. Nico Harrison, baby, what are you doing?
Not looking good for Dallas right now.
Oh.
And it's probably rigged because a player like Luka.
Conspiracy theory, Nick.
A player like Luka, you don't ask around
True.
what other teams could give you. It had to be the Lakers. I mean, it's a little fishy in my opinion that they just gave Luka to the Lakers. Who, in a lot of people, it's not my opinion, but a lot of people consider Luka as a top 5 player. I do not.
I know you don't. I consider him a top like 3.
But a wide variety of people think this and that they, I mean, how come you don't ask around, see what other people want? This is a top 5 player. So it's a little rigged. And I don't like the Lakers. I don't like
it's rigged coming from the guy whose favorite team in the first ever lottery had a bent and frozen envelope.
Which one, Knicks or Pirates?
Knicks.
Pirates, inaugural lottery champs. But anyway,
I can't. Oh, look at the poor Pirates. Anyway,
not a big LA guy. Hate all the sports teams there, and yeah, not a big Lakers guy. That's for sure. But you know who I am big on?
How you feeling about the Knicks right now? By the way,
They're in they're just stuck.
it's been an interesting couple weeks for them.
It's doesn't matter right now
Yeah.
because they're going to be the 3 seed.
Yeah.
None of those teams are going to catch them. They're not going to lose enough for them to catch them, and they're not going to win enough to catch the Celtics or Cavs.
It's been.
As long as
I've
they
lost-
stay healthy,
I've
for
lost.
the playoffs.
I've lost a little bit of confidence in them over the course of the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
If I'm just being honest,
People can say what they want.
you can't tell me that haven't visually looked like worse to some degree though compared to pre-All-Star.
So it's only been 3-4 games since they've had their full team back. Robinson's back, coming off the bench. I wish Thibodeau would play Robinson and Towns at the same time, but
I have a hot take.
on Towns.
It's actually it involves him.
What do you want now?
It involves him, but not in the way you think. It's crazy because we were discussing this at the deadline involving him, but I think Robinson coming back weirdly has deterred the Knicks to a degree.
I like him.
I do too, but what I'm saying though is him coming back disrupted the flow of what the team had built.
Achua is no longer playing.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I thought he did enough to play.
It's kind of what I'm getting at
But-
here.
We know how stubborn Thibodeau is.
Yeah.
He has his rotation. You don't mess with it.
I know. They just looked better with Achua out there,
Achua does give you more offense,
you know?
but Robinson is literally the only rim protector they have on defense.
But they weren't horrid on defense though without him.
They were pretty bad on defense.
I mean,
They were pretty awful.
I don't know.
I like Towns. I think Towns is a top 5 scorer in the league,
Now that's
but he's one of the worst defensive big men in the league.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying the Knicks had this really good flow going, and the wave has been hit with a wake.
But it's also looking at the standings. There's going to be the 30 seed.
I'm aware of this, but I think you're kind of missing about the 3 seed element here is the fact that you're going to have to go up against a Detroit team that doesn't know any better, more than likely, and I don't want to do this to you, Nick. I am worried for the Knicks. They would be my upset alert of the first round.
Thank you for
case.
that concern. I say, let's see, because the playoffs is a different animal.
We're still 20 games? Well, no, it's under 20 games.
Last night was 22, so 21 for the Knicks at least.
Yeah.
So a little over 20 games. It's just, if we can just stay healthy till the playoffs, I think that's a success. We're not going to catch Boston or Cleveland. That's almost even out of the picture now.
Yeah.
When that time comes, if we can beat, potentially Detroit in the first round, and that time comes and we play the Celtics in the second round, then that's the season. That's let's see what we can do there. I know it would be nice to get a regular season win over them, but it doesn't mean anything right now. How much have the Knicks improved from right now to that point, if they can get to that point potentially? How much? That's what we're going to learn here.
Yeah. It's fair.
Can they improve enough? But it could be worse. Could be the Suns.
True. Yeah. Could be the Suns. I got nothing else at this point.
Not some previewing the second legs of the Champions League round of 16.
Go Go Inter Milan. I don't
They
know.
could be in it.
I don't know. Look, I say we get out here on that note. It's been a long week for both of us already. It's only going to get longer, so we'll split on that note. Interesting one. I feel like we should do this maybe a little bit more often. Is let whatever takes in sports of the moment in our brains kind of take us. So
We might talk some PBA on the show.
oh boy, might have to get a couple call-ins for that one. Who are you shouting out today, Nick?
Well, first of all, moment of silence, please.
For what?
R.I.P. Kingda Ka roller coaster.
Oh, I did see the video of that. Yeah.
The tallest roller coaster in the world. Rode it once.
Used to be.
It's at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey.
Was.
It died on Friday morning.
There we go.
R.I.P. Kingda Ka. Got to ride it once on my birthday. It was my 2018, so that was my 22nd birthday.
2018?
23rd birthday.
Yes.
I got to ride on my 23rd birthday.
Had
packed.
been cold.
Yeah, it was warm that day, which was awesome.
You got lucky.
It was packed. And, I got to ride it once, and it was a great ride. It's not better than Top Thrill Dragster. A little worried about where that roller coaster stands, but yeah, sad to see it go. It officially died Friday morning. They tore it down, and yeah,
They didn't tear it down.
This is like,
They blowed the thing up.
and I'm a roller coaster enthusiast, but it's a big deal. It's the tallest roller coaster. It was the tallest roller coaster in the world, and they got rid of it. They're gonna put some there for the park. They also tore down this big swing as well.
Man, why no love for the swing?
What about that was a great drop tower they attached on Kingda Ka as well. And that's gone.
I appreciate you saying was.
Anyway, R.I.P. Kingda Ka. My shout out today.
It's Kingda Ka.
My shout out today is Kingda Ka. No, I'm just my shout out is Max Kiefer,
Okay.
who is the son of Justin Kiefer.
This is the first time we've had a child be the shout out.
I don't look up as a child anymore. His birthday is Saturday, and he will be 2017, so 8. He'll be 8 on
You
Saturday.
view an 8-year-old as an adult?
I think he's an adult now. Justin, his birthday's actually today, which I shouted him out last week.
True.
But his birthday is on Saturday, so shout out Max.
Happy 8th birthday, Max. You're an adult now in the eyes of Nick.
At least, he never got to experience Kingda Ka, at least.
You don't know that?
Yeah, it's true. I guess an 8-year-old, 7-year-old could ride the roller coaster, but I don't know if they made their way over to New Jersey before.
You never knew what Kingda Ka was? I'm freaking losing.
Where's my moment of silence for the roller coaster?
We had the moment of silence for Kingda Ka. Do you want to do another one?
No,
You sure?
I'm good.
Okay.
It's been a few days. I've processed it.
All right, fair enough. Speaking of processing, make sure you like, share, subscribe on YouTube, Spotify. You can find us there. We will be back next Wednesday. We'll see what roller coaster is dead then. Until then, enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll talk next week.